Welcome to the Soxcast. Now, the big news that's happened here as part of Blue Sox Nation, another former Utica summer collegiate alumni has made it to the show. Cedric Mullins was the last one, played here in 2014, made it in 18. And this one a little bit longer. He played here in 2016, but just got called up to the big leagues and made his debut on Saturday, May 7th. And that was Jared Solomon. And it just so happens to be that this week's guest, of course, I think it had to be done, but I'm glad he was able to be on. And I was worried, I'm like, is he going to big league us? Absolutely not. Utica through and through, newest big leaguer, the 22,640th in history, Jared Solomon. Jared, I know we had a bit of some logistical problems because you just got called back up again. I know you're in Pittsburgh now, but thanks for taking the time to be on the Soxcast, man.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, Blue Sox Nation. You guys are family, so of course.
So let's talk. Before we talk about Utica, I mean, it's been almost a week since your debut, the second game doubleheader in Cincinnati against the Pirates. I mean, has it sunk in yet? Now that almost a week's passed, like, damn, I'm a major leaguer now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, once I pitched, it was like, okay, the guys in the locker room told me, like, hey, no one can take that away from you. And so, like, it's there now. I'm sitting we sat in the game yesterday, and I actually got hot for the ninth inning last night, and it was a lot less nerves. It was just like, okay, let's go do a job. And so I think that sort of was like the settling point, like, okay, I belong here and it's real and I'm a big leaguer, and now it's just go do your job.
So let's turn back the clock to 2016. So you came to us from Alderson Broaddus University in West Virginia. You came over with another pitcher who's a starter, unlike you, were more of a reliever in the form of Dylan Gertz. I mean, this was a group that you didn't have a lot of D1 guys, but yet you were one of the best teams in the league, got off to a really hot start, ranked as high as 9th in the country in the summer collegiate baseball rankings. And I know you remember just watching where you guys were ranked over the course of a few weeks in June and July. But what made it so easy for you and the rest of those guys to gel and then be as good as you were, and also win in the fashion like you did several times over, 4 walk-offs in 2 weeks?
Yeah. I think we had some pretty crazy stretches. I think at one point we were chanting, Blue Sox are never going to lose again.
Yeah, Frankie saying 50-0.
Yeah. I mean, it's the guys, right? It's the team, and no one had, like, egos were sort of put aside, and they just enjoyed each other's company, and like we supported each other. And once you started winning, you saw the positive vibes, and everybody fed off of it. I think we were kind of like the bad news bears in the league, where we just, you didn't have these top prospects. It was just like a bunch of no-namers, and we went together and put it together, and we won a lot. So it was really good team, positive vibes, and they took that onto the field. Even when we lost, we didn't hold on to it. We just kept playing.
So you talk about, I mean, on paper, yeah, some no-name schools, except for maybe a handful of D1s, but that pitching staff, I mean, put that up against any other in the league at that time or since, not a lot of people are going to top that. I mean, talk about just how loaded that staff was, how fun it was to be a part of it, and have a pitching coach like Doug Delight, now the manager of the team, that has played such a big part in your development and everyone else's.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. We had some. I mean, you look at, you think about Gus, right? Gus Farland. He's out in I think AA now with the Dodgers, and he's just shoving it, right? I remember Kevin Webke. I've never seen a guy pick off so many dudes on the mound. And I swear he'd look in the dugout and just wink at you and be like, yeah, I'm gonna pick that guy off. And he does it. You know what I mean? So we had some guys, we had some studs, and they all stepped up when they were supposed to. And that's what made them good,
And how instrumental was Dougie, I mean, in your own development, just seeing just how he cultivated that staff to be as dominant as they were?
He was good. He was good vibes, right? He didn't overcomplicate it. I remember that big time. He just didn't overcomplicate it. He let the guys be themselves, and just like, hey, we're going to, even if you're in a struggle, you're going to get through it. Don't overcomplicate the situation, and just go out there and compete and figure out what you're good at, and then just do it, stick to it, and that was pretty key.
And you mentioned Gus and Kevin, and Bear Bellamy was one of those guys who were mid-season additions, knowing that, some guys were going to get tired and they were going to have to get sent home, innings limit, whatever. So even with those new additions, I mean, was it rather easy to just let those guys in and just essentially just keep going without even skipping a beat?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Everybody, when we got a new guy, it wasn't. They just slid right in, and it was. You said it right. It didn't skip a beat. They molded to the team really well, and when they got called on the pitch, they pitched. Man, they shoved it, and that's all you could ask for. And they kept positive vibes in the clubhouse, and it was easy. Really good guys, and that's what made it easy for when they came in.
So I got to ask, since, you got to experience minor league life and now in the big leagues, I mean, how would you compare the environment in Utica to all of those? I tried my hardest to make it seem big league, and you guys brought the energy, and then the fans just essentially they just absorbed it and made it their own. I mean, tell me what the vibe was like in Murnane, and of course, the saying towards the end of the year. I don't know who originated it, but pack the Dawn.
Pack the Dawn. I can't remember who originated that, but I'll tell you what, fan crowd, the fan base in Utica could compete with the fan base in Cincinnati. I think, you know what I mean? It's a few less people, but the passion for the game they have was incredible, and it's the same here, right? The Reds fans. I mean, the passion for the Cincinnati Reds is insane, and there's a rich history, and you can understand why. And Utica was great. I think they matched up just fine. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, I totally believe you. Now, in terms of cool baseball experiences, I mean, getting to see the Hall of Fame was one thing, but to go to Doubleday, not too far from it, and pitch on that mound where a lot of legends have been in that field, but for you to step on that hill in an exhibition game, granted it got washed out. I mean, tell me about that, what that experience was like, and how, you were kind of struggling with command and all that, but that was a game where you started to find yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I had never been to the Baseball Hall of Fame, so getting to go there and just go through it and see the history of it was, incredible. I think anybody that's a baseball fan should go check that out, to see the history of baseball and all the greats that played the game, and experience that and immerse yourself in it. And then the icing on the cake was, hey, I get to start the game at Doubleday, right? And I don't know, I did. I went out there and I sort of found myself a little bit and saw the potential that I had. Not just velocity, but playing in the zone, and saw the swings that I was getting. And I think it really just helped me along in my summer ball and like my baseball career, is that moment on that field was just like, hey, this is special. Take advantage of it.
And I'm pretty sure there were a decent amount of scouts there. I mean, were you aware of just the fact that they were there, the quantity of them? But I mean, that game, you must have put them onto something.
I don't know, maybe. At that time I was a freshman, so I mean, honestly, I was more worried about throwing strikes and not hitting a guy than than the scouts in the stands, and I just trusted that stuff would take care of itself as long as I did my job. So could have been there, but I was definitely more just focused on getting outs.
So let's talk about that postseason. I mean, I probably filled you in on this, or maybe other people did, but 2 years prior to 2016, this team had finished with the worst record in the history of the PGCBL. And fast forward to 2016, and you guys did something that, if you said back in 2014 it would be done, a lot of people would be looking at you like you had three heads, but you did. And you go through Jamestown in the first round, and then a tough 3-game set against Elmira to clinch the West. I mean, what were just the influx of emotions, the highest of highs, lowest of lows, but to ultimately come out on top, Western Division champs?
Yeah, I mean, it was I think it was kind of just like, no one expected us to be there. So it made playing very easy, because there's no pressure, whatever, just go out there and do it, because no one has the expectations. And so when we went out and played, it was just free and easy, and we competed, and that was that. And so going into that playoff, it was just good vibes, right? I think we were playing so well. And it was like, hey, we got to a point. I was like, okay, hey, we can do this. We can actually make it to the championship. We just got to play like we've been playing. It's nothing's different. We compete. We pitch when we're supposed to pitch. We hit when we're supposed to hit. And the things are going to fall into place. And when they did, and it was, it was ecstatic. The guy, you couldn't ask for a better clubhouse.
Oh, I absolutely could not agree more. Now, things kind of got a little complicated with Elmira, and you guys had battled with them all year long, but you always had the upper hand in the regular season. But when it came down to the postseason, you go to Elmira and you win game 1. However, you suffer a couple casualties. Taylor Olmstead separates his shoulder. Mason Fessler goes down with an injury, and Mike Warren had already gone home inexplicably. And from there, you lose game 2. Sean Jelly, who literally debuted the night before you in the majors from Elmira, went out there and just tossed a complete game shutout. I think he retired, 25 straight in that game, if I'm not mistaken. But game 3, winner take all, you get a surprise in your clubhouse, and it's Mike Warren. What do you remember from that, and just the overall feel of that game 3 and that hostile environment at Dunn Field?
I think it just changes the whole vibe, right? And we go into game 3 and we take it. Big morale boost. Mike was he's one of those key pillar players that you just have to have in the clubhouse, because he's positive vibes, he brings the energy, and he brings the big plays. He was a baller. He was just a straight up baller. So to have him back was a huge deal, and was awesome. Yeah.
Now, the game itself, back and forth, but in the last couple of innings, that's when you guys break through. It was 2-2 going into the 8th, and then they bring in their closer for Elmira, and you score 3 off of them in the 8th and 9th. And with Ryan Green, a.k.a. new guy, even though he had been there the entire summer, what was it like watching him just dominate the 9th inning and then going crazy after that final out?
Yeah. Oh, my God. He had a crazy summer. It was so much fun to watch. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was a young guy, and they called him the new guy the entire season. It was great. He loved it, I think. But he just embraced it, and he went out and, he shoved it, and it was electric. And then to close it out like that and win that ball game was insane.
I've heard some stories about what the vibe was like, and that's the word of the day, the vibe. And on that bus back to Elmira, that's a long drive, but probably the most enjoyable 3+ hour drive you probably have ever been on.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was complaining about that one, about that road trip back.
Now, when it came to the Amsterdam series, I know you got an inning or 2 in that series as well, which Amsterdam got a sweep of. At that point, were you guys kind of just running on fumes? No, and Amsterdam was so fresh, and they had so much D1 talent, and like I said, ran out of gas, and it happens. It's baseball.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It was a long year. Maybe we ran out of gas. I don't know. But yeah, we just got beat. We got straight up beat, and you tip your cap to Amsterdam, and oh well, it happens. It's frustrating, but you take the positives out of that summer, and I don't think anybody would have looked at us and said, "Oh yeah, you guys are going to be competing in the championship this summer," and we did. You know what I mean? So be frustrated about the loss in the championship, but you know what? Don't take it for granted for how far the team came and went into that season, and take it to a championship like that was pretty special.
Now, your skipper, Mark Moriarty, who was on the show just a couple of weeks ago, he was talking about how difficult it was for guys to say goodbye to each other because y'all had gotten so close. How accurate was Skip in saying that?
I think it was very accurate. Yeah, for sure. I still talk to a good handful of the guys, you know what I mean? They always check in, and that group, that was probably my favorite summer of baseball I've ever played. Those guys were just so great. It probably wasn't my best summer of baseball, right? Performance wise, but everyday life with those guys and being in the clubhouse with those guys, those are some absolutely incredible people. And the relationship you built with those guys, they're there forever. So definitely, it was definitely tough to say goodbye to someone.
And fast forwarding to now, I mean, I'm sure you've probably followed along, so, like year after year, seeing what the Blue Sox have become, not on the field and then off the field, as we're filming here at Blue Sox Academy, which is a massive facility here in the Sangertown Square Mall. I mean, is it crazy to see how much the Blue Sox brand has grown, and seeing, the success of seeing multiple guys like Cedric Mullins and now you making it to the show from Utica?
Yeah, I think it's great. The Blue Sox brand I think is awesome, right? And they have such a rich history there in Utica, and I think it should be embraced and loved and cheered for. And I think you guys are doing it right now. I've seen the updates, the facility you guys have going right now, and it's I'm fired up for you, to be honest. I think Utica can really use it, and they should embrace it because it's really good baseball and it's fun baseball.
Oh yeah, like that's what we pride ourselves on. Always about the fun and the antics and all that. And I know I'm one to vouch for that. Now, the minor league journey that you've been on, I mean, it's taken you several different places. I mean, your first year, I mean, you got drafted the year after you were in Utica by the Reds, 11th round pick out of Lackawanna College, really good JUCO school. I mean, you went from Dayton to Daytona with the Tortugas. I believe that's what their team in Daytona, the Dayton Dragons. But I mean, talk to me about just the journey going from seeing all these different places and, obviously, and then COVID hit. I mean, you could take me through what those first few years were like, and then when COVID kind of struck things down, and you're kind of thinking to yourself like, damn, what am I going to do with no minor league ball at all in 2020?
Yeah. So first few years in pro ball is kind of just like getting your toes wet and figuring it out. What's it mean to be a professional athlete, and how do you handle your business, and like figuring out your routine, because a full season in pro ball is not college. It is a completely different animal. So you have to really learn how to pitch and how to recover, and like how to go, how to take the highs and take the lows and sort of ride the middle and get through the season. So my first few years is just like learning that. And, I had the struggles, I had the highs, so once I started to figure that out, I was actually really excited for that 2020 season. I liked where I was at, and then COVID hit, obviously, and sort of put everything on the back burner. I was like, whoa, like, what do we do? Right. Everybody was like that. It's not just baseball players. Everyone was sort of like that. But in my scenario, it was just like, okay, I had to go home, and the whole time we're like, hey, we're going to be back in like a month. Hey, we're going to be back in 2 months. Hey, I need you on call. We have an alternate site set up. You could be coming out next week. I was like, okay. So you continue to throw. We're playing sandlot baseball at a local high school, which was great. Just for me, I was throwing every day, training every day. And, out of the competitive atmosphere, I was able to really work on certain pitches and like develop my routine, and just honestly develop even more as a pitcher, because I didn't have to worry about, competing and getting a win here. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get better as a pitcher. And so the whole summer went by, and it was like, okay, we're not going to probably play baseball. And then we had a fall camp, and Bodie called me up. He's like, hey, I want you to come out. I want you to show them that you can close. Show them you can relieve. It'll be a faster track to get to the bigs. Show them that you can do it. We're going to actually play games in the fall, and just go compete and do it. I was like, yeah, let's go. I'm ready. I was throwing, I'm ready to rock, and went into that camp, and I was like, I don't think I threw a fastball into 96. I was 97 to 99, and, fastball slider, and I was 1, 2, 3, let's go. And I'm out. And it was great. I think I really opened up eyes. And then unfortunately I was closing against the Indians, and I threw a pitch and my elbow blew. And I was like, I knew it when it happened. I ended up finishing the inning, punched the next 2 guys. I was like, no, something's not right. I knew something wasn't right, and ended up tearing my UCL. And so I had to go through surgery. Surgery put me on a rehab for 15 months. So I missed all of 2021 season, rehab through that. And this is my first year back. And so now started in AA. I competed in big league camp because I was put on the 40, went to AA. I was in AA for 2.5 weeks. Went to AAA. Was in AAA for a week and a half, and then I made my debut in Cincy against the Pirates. And now got optioned that night, and I think it was 4 days later, I'm in Pittsburgh right now, hoping to pitch tonight.
Talk about a journey. I mean, that's got to be something. I mean, the fact that you tore your UCL and yet you punched 2 more guys out after that. I mean, that's trooper stuff, man. So I got a couple things now I think about it. So that summer in Utica, I mean, did that kind of like get you an introduction to getting into your own routine and playing that professional schedule? And then secondly, do you actually prefer being a reliever over a starter? Because I know most of your time in the minors up until that change in 2020, but that fall camp, you were mostly a starter.
Yeah. So as far as the like schedule and stuff for Utica, it definitely opened my eyes to professional baseball plays every day. So playing that Utica season, I was like, oh man, this is how it is. I can't remember. I think we played series, didn't we? In Utica?
No, it was like single games, but it was like 50 games in 60 something days.
Right. Okay. So like we were playing every day. And so that was my first time ever getting the taste of that, which was new for me, and sort of prepared me a little bit for pro ball. Even if I wasn't even thinking about pro ball at the time, I was just having fun and playing baseball. But it definitely opened my eyes. Like, okay, if you actually do like this game, like this is it, right? You got to play every day. And I didn't have an issue with it. I enjoyed it. And it's awesome. I love the game of baseball. So it was, for me, it was like, yeah, I like this grind. Let's do it. And then what was your second question?
If you actually like being a reliever more than you did a starter, because you were more of a starter for your first few years in the minors.
Yeah. Okay. So, it's been a different transition. It's a different mentality, a little bit different mentality, being a reliever and a starter. And it's tough to say right now. It's still early. I really enjoy coming in late in the inning. In AA, I was closing and coming in the 9th inning or the 8th inning, getting a 2-inning save or a 1-inning save. There's nothing better than that. That's electric, right? Go in there, blow smoke, get some punchies, and win that ball game. Close it out and for the win. And that kind of energy is incredible. But it's really great energy when you can go 6 innings or 7 innings and set your team up for a win, and give up just 1 or no runs. And, there's something special about that as well. So it's a tough decision, but I'm going to need some more time before I decide on if I enjoyed relieving or starting more. But I'm definitely enjoying being a reliever right now.
I mean, that's fair enough. Now, and by the way, you hadn't given up a single earned run this year in the minors prior to getting called up. When you did get that call that, hey, oh yeah, you're getting called up for this doubleheader. You're the 27th man today. You watched the first game, don't get in, but tell me just the story of, because I know you talked to reporters about the moment when you got called up and all that, but I don't think anyone's heard the story about the second game of that doubleheader and getting that call from the into the game. What do you remember that? And, maybe some nerves and, getting the call, like you're coming in, you're like, all right, this is for real. I'm officially etched to the books now forever.
Yeah. It was, we were watching the game and sort of seeing how it was going, and we were breaking down. We had 2 more arms left in the pen. So it's kind of like, all right, I didn't think I was actually going to go in. I was kind of getting a little frustrated. I was like, man, I'm not going to get the debut tonight, which is, frustrating, but part of being a reliever. And so once we scored, I think we scored another 2 runs there, or they did. I think it was like a 8-5 ball game. So we just needed a 0 in the 9th to keep us close, to give us a chance to tie it or take the lead or walk it off, right? And when they, I was chilling, I was happy, and I was chilling, and then I wasn't nervous. I was like, I kind of like said to myself, like, probably not going to go in tonight, so no reason to be nervous, just hang out. And then they called and they're like, hey, get Solomon hot, he's going in. And so that's when I got nervous. I got out there, started throwing and warming up. I was like, oh shit, I couldn't feel my feet. And I was like, okay, we'll settle in. But my first few throws, I definitely couldn't feel my feet out there. And when I walked the first batter of that inning, I was like, oh God, we got to lock this in, or this is going to turn sour real quick. And once I locked it in, I threw a slider, and I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. And it was smooth sailing from there.
I mean, the leadoff walk is one thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was like a cheap infield hit that set up first and second, nobody out. But, essentially, like, all right, let's see how this kid does, first and second, nobody out. And you got out of the jam pretty well. And Taylor made, pair of strikeouts, and then you got a shallow fly out to end the inning. I mean, were you kind of telling yourself like, okay, it's not like I'm a pro, I know how to get out of this, and you just go out there, all right, I'm going to shove, get out of this.
Yeah. I mean, I just sort of, once I walked the guy, I was like, okay, lock it in. Your stuff plays. That's why you're here. And so I just sort of told myself, lock it in right here. And the next hitter, I executed my pitches, got a cheap ground ball. Tough play from Farmer, obviously, and whatever, he gets a single out of it. I wasn't stressed about that single. I wasn't stressed about the guy on second. I knew exactly what was going to happen. I did, once I executed my pitches, I knew how the rest of the at bat was going to go, because I knew I was locked in. So now it's just do what I do, do what I've been doing. And that's exactly what I did.
So on that first K, I was trying to figure out what kind of pitch that was, but I mean, it had this movement where like it normally, if you're a right-hand pitcher, if you're trying to break, it's probably going to go this way in on a left-handed hitter. It went the opposite way. I mean, I didn't see that in Utica.
So it's it's a slider fastball. I went slider fastball to Nap, and it's just a four seam with a lot of run. So I spin the ball pretty well. I also get a lot of horizontal, so it just runs away from lefties, and that was sort of the pitch to do.
So you get out of the jam, 2 strikeouts, fly out, put up a goose egg in the ninth. I mean, what was the reaction in the dugout? I mean, knowing that, you just threw a scoreless debut inning into your debut, but your team's still in the game and has a chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's just now let's see what we can do here in the bottom of the ninth. You're hoping for that walk off. Their closer, I can't remember his name, but he did really well. Tip your cap to that guy. He was throwing some smoke, and we just didn't make it happen. But unfortunately, I went out there, did my job, put up a 0, and you just hope the team can put together a couple runs. And it's baseball; it doesn't happen every night. It's part of it. So you move on, and hey, we're gonna play tomorrow. So no biggie.
So I know that whole day, when I saw, you got the call to Cincinnati, saw your story at Great American Ballpark, and I'm like, yo, it's happening. And I mean, you must have seen, I put that in our 2016 group chat on Instagram, was it great seeing guys like Frankie and Mike Hope and all those guys, wishing you luck and cheering you on and all that?
Oh my God. Yeah. It was very special, to see everybody that I've played with to reach out. And I tried my phone was going nuts for like 3 days, and I tried my best to reach back to everybody and just tell them thank you. And it was, to have that kind of support, and that's what, that's what made that team so great. Those guys all had your back. It didn't matter who you were. They all had your back, which was, that's what made that team so awesome. That's why we won so many games, because, it didn't matter if you were in a down place or you're at the highest of highs, you're just equal in that clubhouse. And, to have that support was insane and absolutely wonderful.
So it's funny that, you got sent back down briefly. Now you get back up. And as you mentioned, you're currently in Pittsburgh, hopefully getting an appearance tonight against the Buccos, who you already threw a scoreless inning against them prior to this. But I know your time's been limited with the Reds so far, but, have there been any guys, pitchers, fielders, what have you that, you kind of like gravitate to, like, yeah, I mean, I like this guy, or maybe they could take me under their wing.
I mean, in our bullpen, I work, I'm with the bullpen all the time. So in big league camp, we were around each other. And then I actually rehabbed with Art Warren last year. And he's a guy that I stick pretty close to. awesome guy, big hunter. So definitely talk to him about hunting a lot. And he's a guy that I look at, and if I'll ask him questions and look for advice in these situations. And the whole bullpen is really good dudes. I've played with a couple of them already through in the past. Even the new one, like Hunter Strickland, he was a Tommy John guy, and so I've talked with him a little bit about his and my own experience with that. And they all seem very easy to talk to, and I'm not afraid to ask questions. That's for sure. They make me feel comfortable, and we're all here. We're all here to play. We're all here to win, and I think that goal is very universal and transparent in that bullpen.
Now, I have to ask this also. I mean, I can't not ask about Joey Votto because, I mean, the guy is simply a charismatic enigma. Let's put it that way. I mean, you see that on TV, but have you gotten a glimpse of any of that in person in the clubhouse?
Well, he's not here right now. He's on the COVID IL.
Yeah, that's happening right now. Yeah, no, totally forgot about that. Dang. So that kind of put a damper on it. But but I mean, just to tie this all together, I mean, again, it's been 6 years since you were here in Utica, but a lot's happened since then. You're putting on for the city, being another former Utica player in the show. I mean, do you take pride in saying I came from Utica and now I'm here in the big leagues? I feel like there's got to be a lot of pride just for Utica, and then all the, Lackawanna and Alderson brought us, and obviously getting to where you are now. And I mean, just speak to how much Utica meant to your development, and then just the support that we've all given you and fans and whatever else, how important has that been to you?
It's everything, right? I know that without Utica, without Lackawanna, without Alderson Broads, without Millville, my hometown, I'm not here, right? I'm not at this point in my career and in my life. I'm not the person I am today without all of you, right? And especially Utica. The time there was incredible. The fans were incredible. Ownership was awesome. Everybody, the team, right? And I wouldn't be here without them. I wouldn't be the person that I am. I wouldn't have grown as a baseball player and as a human being without my time at Utica. And I'll be forever thankful, and I'll always cheer on the Blue Sox for sure. I'm a lifelong fan for the Blue Sox no matter what. I
mean, hey, Baldy said it best. God loves the Blue Sox.
That's it. God loves the Blue Sox, baby. Yeah.
But Jared, again, you're big time now. I mean, you're in the big leagues now, but the fact that you made time to do this week's episode of the Soxcast, I couldn't appreciate it more. Thank you again for the time again. Continued best of luck in the big leagues. I know you just got recalled, but all of us in Utica want you to stay there now. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you're definitely going to do that. So, Jared, again, thanks for the time. Best of luck if you get the ball here tonight in Pittsburgh and beyond.
All right. Hey, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on. And good luck to the Blue Sox this year. All right.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't agree more. So, for Jared Solomon, the newest big leaguer, I'm Tim Best signing off for the Soxcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you again next week.